what is the common denominator that you're seeing to build in a sustainable side hustle?
Fear.
Ooh,
Fear.
ouch. Elaborate. That is good.
I want to drop the mic, but I have this lavalier mic. Can I drop this
You can
lavalier?
drop
That's
the
a mic
mic.
drop moment right there. Lavalier
Drops
mic.
fear, drops mic. Boom. Hi guys, welcome back to Conversation with Myuze. It is a new season. I am so excited for everything that we have coming up. We have some amazing guests that's coming up on the show. And this time around, I told you guys that season 1 was a lot of market research. So this time around, it's going to still be me inviting guests and just imparting wisdom on you guys. But also I'm going to be doing a lot more teaching. And when I say teaching, not kind of schooling you, but just kind of giving you insight a little bit more into digital marketing and advertising, what that looks like. So you guys can kind of see how my brain works and pick the brain of an advertising agency. So I'm so excited. On today's episode, we have this smart real estate investor, businessman, podcaster, my friend that I've known for a couple years now, Shawn Rickshaw, on the show. He is in the space of podcasting, and I think it's really great to open this season with someone who I've had these dialogues with and had conversations with. So I'm excited for you guys to see what's to come. And Shawn, I would love to welcome you to the show. Hi, welcome.
Hey Monique, what's going on?
What's up? Nice to see you
All
again.
right.
It's been a while.
Same here, same here, same here.
One thing I do like to do is start with an icebreaker so the guests can kind of just get to know you a little bit. If you were stuck on a deserted island, what would the 3 movies be that you would watch for the rest of your life?
One would be Belly.
Really?
Yo, what? Yo, Belly is that movie. I mean, I think I've watched Belly uh, over 10 times, truth be told.
Mm-hmm.
The storyline, my favorite rapper of all time, he's in it,
Yeah.
and that's Nas. Nas is just a different level. He's in some different stratosphere when it comes to the music business. And of course, DMX, who we all know, he's a legend. And just the way they played their roles, and Method Man, he's in it. So Wu Tang,
It's like
so Belly
culture is in
definitely
that movie. Like it's the entire culture that's in that movie.
the culture, and we this is who we were back then.
Yeah.
So we related to it a little bit better than what we were seeing on a lot of those typical big screen movies.
Mm-hmm.
So Belly is definitely one. Another would be I'm gonna save the best for last.
Okay.
Right. Another would probably be that's a good question, and that's off the top. So another would be, I would say, it's there. I'm trying to get there. I like House Party.
Okay.
House Party
That's a fun twist.
has what it. I mean, the fun. The house party days. When I was younger, really young. Just sneaking out, going to house parties and stuff. It jogs your memory, and with Martin Lawrence and Kid and Play and all that. It was a good, fun movie. So I like House Party. Uh, the other would be the whole Matrix, trilogy.
That's the second time I've heard that, where people are like, because I've asked this before and the Matrix was it. So the trilogy, like you would take the box set and just put it together and be like, okay, this is one.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some, I don't know about this new Matrix that just came out. I give it a straight 2 thumbs down, right? But the original Matrix, man, it's like it keeps you thinking. It keeps you on your edge of your seat. It kept me on my edge of my seat, when I first saw it. And to this day, I feel like, it's that movie. I feel like I'm getting something different and something new every time I watch, each of those, parts of the trilogy. So Matrix definitely, and that's my favorite movie, not just trilogy, but just a framework of movies. for all time. So yeah, those three right there, definitely.
That's a good mixture of just like, so the Matrix, House Party, and Belly. That's like you have all things covered there. So that's I think that's a good lineup because
So
I naturally would just go to like Sex in the City and maybe like a dancehall queen, and that to me is classic. Dancehall queen is classic, and then I'll probably go to a
it's classic.
show and not necessarily a movie. So like bring like the whole Martin series with me, so I can like
The thing
laugh.
is, my whole theory of these three is one is street, one is fun, and one is sci-fi. So yeah.
No, that's a good blend. That's why I'm like, it's just so many. That's a really good blend because at any given time you can just be like, all right, I need to think. In the Matrix, you'll put the Matrix on and it connects you to that part of your brain. Or I need to just be grounded and then you think about culture. So that's really good. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself and just who you are.
Man, that's a crazy description if I'm gonna drop it out there, but I'm gonna shorten it down. I'm not gonna make a long story short. When black folks say long story short,
And then
it's
the story
already
still be long.
So I'm gonna get directly to the point. I'm Shawn. I'm from South Florida, the South Florida area, and moved to North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, 3 years ago. From 4 years ago, from the time I'm making this video, or this video being recorded, and I'm a real estate investor, and just got into podcasting, almost pretty much full time, as a matter of fact. And I own my real estate investing business. I got it on autopilot. I got some VAs running it for me, so I have a lot of time on my hands. So I decided to go in podcasting. I'm very adventurous. I like going places. Not to say I like traveling everywhere, but just experiencing different food and fun things to do, hiking, whether it's outdoor. I like going to the mountains, and that's one of the reasons why I came to North Carolina, because there are just so much dynamics to this area. So in a nutshell, yeah, that's me.
That's perfect. So, just to give the audience a little backstory about how we met, it was a play that we were supposed to be. Well, I was supposed to be a part of a play, and you were, I think, on the cast of the play at the time. And we met, and we just connected, and we just kept the contact throughout the years, and then we're on Facebook, on social media, so there's contact there all the time. And then when you first started the podcast about a year ago, um, I raised my hand and I was like, I want to be a part of it. I want to come on. And he was like, yeah, sure. And we had a really great conversation that I still get people that watch it and be like, oh my gosh, that was a good conversation that you guys had about digital marketing. So that's kind of where the connection has been. And I'm just grateful for even you being here. So thank you.
Well. I want to say thank you too, because you came in and pretty much dropped a lot of jewels, for the audience, and to this day, I still watch that episode. I'm gonna actually repurpose it because I feel like it was the early stages of the podcast,
Absolutely.
and I want more and more people to see it. Now we're above what we were aiming for the New Year's. Now to go back to where we met, actually, I was the videographer. I was supposed to be the videographer for that
Okay.
little, I think it was a rehearsal.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a rehearsal. So we went to like a table read. It was a table read.
Yeah.
We went to a table read. Yep.
And I was doing my little video thing. I had my little camera, and the content came out crappy. But hey, I was in my early days.
We got to start from
But
somewhere.
got to start from somewhere. But he appreciated it. The director or the organizer, he appreciated it, and that's where we met. And yeah, it was all uphill from there.
Absolutely. So you speak about being a real estate investor. I want to get to the podcast stuff because I think it's amazing what you have done since you initiated the podcast. But I do want to tap a little bit into the backstory as far as the retail investor side. So what is you do? From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, you do a lot of wholesaling houses, etc. What does that concept even mean to someone that's listening that's not familiar?
It's one of those business where, I don't, it seems like it came out of nowhere because so many people are getting into it. But wholesaling it's been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, people like me and you, we didn't have the information, we didn't have access to the information at all.
Yeah.
It was straight hidden right in front of our eyes, like I can't believe it when I found out about it. But wholesaling, it's pretty much finding a property, homeowner who want to sell, a property, have no means of selling it. The house it's not in the best shape, so they can't really list it, because if you want to list it on Zillow or anywhere, you gotta at least put some dollar in it, and do some minor rehab, bring it up to market value, and pretty much sell it on the list it and sell it on Zillow or somewhere. And so you'll find that a lot of people are living in houses like those where they want to get rid of it. And so that's where we come in. Outside of being a realtor, as wholesalers, we'll get in contact with the homeowner, and we'll make an offer. We'll say, okay, you know what, we'll buy the house as is condition.
Okay.
We're going to pay you cash, and what we're going to do is we're going to take over the property and pretty much rehab and bring it up to market value. So as a wholesaler, this is where it gets pretty interesting. As a wholesaler, me being a wholesaler, like we'll call ourselves real estate investors, but we're really we're really on the wholesaling side of things, because if you're really another tier investor, you're the one doing the rehabbing. As far as wholesaling, we're finding the properties and we're selling it to the buyers, the cash buyers. So we're not using our money. We're the people between the seller and the buyer.
Okay.
So what we do, we find the property, we make the deals, we sign the contracts, put the property on the contract. Then we find a buyer and say, hey, I got this property. Now this is something the seller, can't know, because as far as they know, you're the one buying the property, right?
Okay, got it.
And
got you. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so it's like a purchase and sale, seller, buyer.
Yeah.
So when you get the property on the contract, you find a buyer, and pitch the deal to the buyer. The buyer says, okay, I'll buy, pay you and give you pretty much a finder's fee. So we call it an assignment fee. So after the deal is complete, on closing day, one thing you can't do is you can't let the seller meet the buyer, because that's going to blow up the deal.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that's how it works. At the end of the day, forget that at the end of the day, at day's end, right? You pretty much, wholesale, you're pretty much selling somebody's property. You're telling them you're going to purchase.
Perfect. And how did you even get into wholesaling homes? Like, how did you get there?
Man, you know what? I got to give props to this guy called Maxwell. Max, if you're ever watching this video, and I'm sure anything is possible, he's a multi-millionaire, and proud to say he's from Jamaica, right? And he came here, and he always tells the story of living in his when he went to the army or whatnot. He came back home and he didn't know what to do. He was living with his parents. He was up, doing some research on YouTube and came across this. And once he found out about, this man just took off. And this was probably about 6 years ago, right? Or 6 or 7. And within 2 years, he became a millionaire. Within 2 years, because it wasn't so saturated as it was. So what he did was, as a kind-hearted person, he came on YouTube and started just giving away free information. During that time, other investors who are, different skin tone people, right? They were charging $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 for a course, right?
Yeah.
And of course, they'll do the free seminars, lower you in and say, okay, you know what, this is $15,000 for this. And then, put you on payment plan and so forth. For him, he was like, no, I'm going to give to my people this free information. So he started, posting videos on YouTube, and that's how I found out about it. I found Max Maxwell, and he turned a lot of people into millionaires. A lot of black folks just don't get straight to it into millions. So that's how I found out about it. I started digging deep, started listening to his podcast and so forth. And at this point, he was like 3 years in, around there.
Okay.
And he was just just pouring information, free information out there. Never sold a course, right? And I just followed his footprints and started doing it. And within my first year, I probably sold 10 properties.
Wow. Within the first year.
Within the first year. The hardest times were the first 3 months. But when you get it, right, and you figure out how to really speak to seller and be persuasive, because that's a really huge part of this whole business. You've got to be a persuasive person and be trustworthy. You've got to come off trustworthy. Once you got that going, man, it's like it's all uphill. But there's a decline now because the black folks got caught on to it. So we're jacking up the game, put it that way.
Okay, so I mean, with everybody, every market gets oversaturated for a second, but then it's just like crypto, once everybody starts jumping onto it, or like now stocks or whatever. But for the wholesaling, you're saying that right now it's something that you're not 100% dedicated to. You have that kind of on autopilot, and your VAs kind of do that, right?
I was up to 3 VAs, down to 2 VAs now. I'm about to, cut 1 VA because I'm pretty cool. I bought 2 properties within that time. So I'm also a landlord. At the same time, I'm gonna pretty much sell those properties and do some more investments. But it's very saturated now. I also coach. For people that are coming in, there's a lot of people who are still coming in and they need guidance. So, I coach people in that area, but yeah, it's saturated now. And I fell in love with, podcasting and stuff.
So as far as, since the market for wholesaling is kind of like on the side, or I wouldn't even say back burner, but on the side for you, now you're doing the podcast, Pocket Value Podcast, which I spoke about at the top of the show, where I was one of your earlier guests. How did you decide that you wanted to get into podcasting?
I must say, even though I'm getting into podcasting, I'm going to answer your question. Real estate is something that I'm always going to be in. So I'm going to get back to real estate. I want to own at least 20 properties, so I'm going to get back into real estate. If you look at every millionaire, they have a hand in real estate. So that's somewhere I'm going to always be. The podcasting side, the first time, it was back in 2005. No, 2000 and probably about between 2007 2010. I remember I was listening to this African guy. He was doing a podcast, and it was a musical podcast, and he was playing some rare beats. And he was actually, it was pretty much a Spotify, Apple Play. He was on Apple Play. That's where I heard it.
Okay.
And he was rocking, man. I was like, yo, I'm from the era of DJing. I used to DJ myself, so as far as that, it caught my attention. And he was talking. He would break, and he would just talk about stuff. And I'm like, yo, this is dope. And I said to my friend who pretty much, started playing this, I don't know if you remember this guy that owned a spot down in downtown Hollywood. It's called Tempo Lounge, Carlos.
No.
Back a few years ago. But yeah, so Carlos from Tempo Lounge, he used to, play it, and he had this nice couches, and nice spot, and we would vibe out there and eat food. And I was like, yo, that is so dope. He was playing some nice rare beats. And I love rare beats. Like for me, I like, EDM, house, and,
Yeah.
just not everything, but certain, genres. And I just started like, yo, I'm started to vibe to it. Then started just listening to it on the daily. And I said, man, I want to start a podcast like this guy because I could talk about different stuff and, and so forth. So fast forward, I didn't really, continue that journey. But as far as, keeping up with him, years later, fast forward years later, I came across Earn Your Leisure, right? So a lot of people better be giving props to Earn Your Leisure. So I saw Earn Your Leisure, years ago when they were in, a living room, and I was feeling the vibe. They were, just educating people, just talking about stuff all across the board. And that's when I really said, you know what, I want to get into this right here, this area, because, I like to have conversations. I like to educate. I like to, pass on the information that's going to help us, grow within our culture. So that specific time, it was definitely a defining, point in my podcast. So shout out to Earn Your Leisure, when you guys were in that living room, and yeah.
So where they are now. And how did you even decide to pivot? So I guess, no, I don't even want to say, because initially it was just conversations, education, so forth. But now I feel like you're on a specific topic. I feel like you're, the topics that you've been consecutively been dishing out over the last 2-3 months, if not more, is your side hustle, right? Different side hustles, people that have different side hustles or making money doing things that are not conventional or we don't think is of conventional. How did you pivot the podcast into kind of carving out a very minute niche?
Yeah. Well, I as I said, I like educating people. I like giving away information, and actually, like EYL, they were giving out information also. Of course, now they've transitioned into different areas and so forth. But I wanted to, carry that baton, right? Because we gotta pass it on. Somebody's gonna, run with it after me. Is if there's any end to me, you know what I mean? But I don't see that.
No time soon.
Right. So, all right. So, I actually started pivoting when, the podcast started a year ago, right? Around February,
February,
we're in January.
last year.
Yeah, yeah. And that's when you came on. And after that, I had Corinne Stewart. She was on there talking about, stocks and how to, get involved with stocks. Right after that, I kind of like, I'm not sure what direction I really want to go, right? So it wasn't side hustles. It was just general information that we were giving out. That's important, either to a business or, investing. So, I took some time off, and it's very important to take that time off and figure it out.
Absolutely.
It's not just research. Like if you disappear for a second, a few months, within those months, got to be doing your due diligence and figure it out, right?
Absolutely.
And so I took some months. If you notice, there were some months during last year, I was like, I wasn't doing nothing, right? During that time, I had my head in the computer and the laptop. I was up at nights, 3 a.m., just figuring it out. I'm writing up stuff. I'm watching videos. I'm reading stuff. And, I think it was in July or August, which is what, 6 months ago, I actually got it. I said, yo, I know exactly where I need to be. It's like a light bulb went on, right? And I was like, yo, I got it. I'm going to talk about side hustles, right? So, because, and this is the thing, I was seeing people doing different side hustles. and I was like, yo, I could talk about that. And I'm seeing so many people getting into like affiliate marketing and this and that. I was like, yo, I need to talk about something like that. And now I started to develop, the framework. You got to develop that framework
Absolutely.
and keep every angle of that framework in sight. See, once we start going to circles, we will go into circles. We got to
A dog
develop that
chasing its
square.
tail. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to develop that square framework and hit it from all four corners, right? So I started doing that, and I started seeing it. I brought somebody on, and he started. They started talking about side hustles and stuff, and I saw the views coming in. I learned how to optimize my channel. Yo, for everybody watching this, take your time and learn how to optimize your videos, because that's going to take you distances you never imagined, right? Optimization is key. So I learned the art of optimizing. Right now, I think I can I am actually, helping this one person with her channel, and she went from zero a few months ago to over 3,000 subscribers, just by the knowledge that I've gained over the time learning YouTube, right? And so it was about July, August last year when I got it, and I said, you know what, from here it's all incline.
That's amazing because it takes time. And I remember after the first couple episodes of the podcast, you reached out to me. You was like, the channel is taking a slow time to grow. Should I just ditch it and just go to my personal page? And we had this conversation of, listen, it takes time. And like you said, you did your due diligence to understand how to optimize. So now you're in a position where you are not blending the personal and the business. The business is kind of itself as far as what the page is, and it's growing at a steady growth. So that's amazing for side hustles, right? Why is it important?
Now,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I gotta give you a big shout out. I remember that conversation,
Oh,
and I reached out to you because you're good at this thing,
I
right?
try.
I,
Thanks.
man, you on the podcast, you dropped some gems. One of the things that still stand out to me this day, you said, you got to put your podcast out there. How are people going to know about your business? You were talking from a general standpoint. If you're not marketing it, if you're not putting it out there, and to this day, that's why when you see me post on Facebook right now, it's because of those words that you gave me, right? So big shout out to you, big thank you to you. That conversation definitely was a point of decision for me. So
I'm
yes,
glad that I was able to help. So
necessary.
thank you. Thank you. And so this is the thing, when you talk about educating, that's kind of why I'm even doing like a podcast, because I feel like there's so much information to give and some people just don't know, and you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. And that's just really it. But as far as I want to kind of put the spotlight back on you and off of me, because oh my gosh, I'm shy. I don't like to talk about myself. But why is it important in today's society for anybody to think about a side hustle? Because you're speaking to all these great people that have amazing side hustles, whether it's a notary or a truck driver or a lot of these different things. You guys really have to go and check out the channel. It's Pocket Value Podcast on YouTube. But why is it so important when now more than ever we are more educated, we're making more money with just one job? Or why is it important to have a side hustle?
We are making more money, but the thing is, cost of living keeps going up. So it's almost like a balance. We were still making money in a sense. Money was out there. 10 years ago. But the same $10 isn't the same $10 10 years ago isn't the same
Facts.
$10 today. We are making money. This $100 right now won't be, it's not going to go as far as, it's not going to go as far, 10 years from now, so, but it's the same bill. The thing is, a lot of people we've got caught up into this whole generational curse of, working, saving.
Yeah.
And I think we had to uh, figure out a way we can create different means to get to the dollar amount that we want to get, which is we all want to be a millionaire or multi-millionaire, right? So the side hustle, having side hustles, it's crazy that we're using this term side hustles, because if you're from the island and your mom and dad used to work
Four
three and
jobs,
four
three
different
jobs.
jobs.
Yes. The night
Yo,
job, the day
they,
job.
because they figured it out already. The thing is, we were saying they were overworking, but they were actually hustling.
Yeah.
Right. So for us, yeah, we call it, side hustles now. But if y'all watching this, man, Caribbean folks, we've been ahead of the
Been
game.
hustling.
We been ahead of the game, man. So the importance of having these is because like I said, getting to that dollar amount, being a millionaire, multi-millionaire, it's gonna take just a job to get there. Because a job, it's not really investing, fully into you. It's more investing into somebody else who's a millionaire at the top, sitting down, looking down at everybody at the bottom, and feeding crumbs. They give you enough to stay and give you enough to feed your family, and then you get stuck in this cycle, this
like
revolving door.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we needed to educate each other about side hustles and so forth. So you can use this to pretty much jump spring your revenue and get to the place that you want to be. So it's really important these days for us to have these gigs and create jobs, and so we could pass down those to the next generation. Not just create jobs, but start a business, and build the business. You want to also scale. You don't want to really have just one, you're the only person in the business. You want to scale and teach your kids how to scale. And so they could also pass it down as well. So it's pretty important that we have it, these different side hustles or gigs or businesses now, because this is what's going to really, carve out our legacy and for the generations to come.
Yeah, no, I love that. For everyone that you have been speaking to over the course of you doing this kind of series on side hustles, etc., what is the common denominator that you're seeing to building a sustainable side hustle?
Fear.
Ooh, ouch. Fear. Elaborate. That is good.
Yo, I don't know if I could I want to drop the mic, but I have this lavalier mic. Can I drop this lavalier? That's a mic drop moment. I got my lavalier
drops
mic.
Fear, drops mic. Boom. No,
Fear.
yeah.
I walked off the stage and I'm going to come back on the stage. So I'm going to explain it to you because, even for me, it's also fear, and fear doesn't always mean bad. It's not always a bad thing. It has some good connotations to it, fear of failing, fear of not being who you were intended to be, fear of not seeing your parents enjoy themselves the way they should, really enjoy life. And it's going to be up to us to give them that experience, So, I want to give my mom experience. My father passed away. He didn't get to really, experience life outside of working a job. A lot of us, we're our parents, just never experience it. So fear of living and they pass on and never really get to enjoy themselves. But I'm out there enjoying myself because now I'm successful. I wouldn't feel good at the end of the day. I want to know that my parents, after they're gone, I could say, yo, my mom enjoyed this, man. I didn't get my dad, but my mom, she got everything that she ever wanted to do. So the fear of, having not passing down the proper legacy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with everybody that I see, getting into different, areas of side hustles that I've been actually, having, interviews with. Everybody wants to succeed. Nobody wants to fail. If you want to fail, go ahead and sit on that couch, right? Do nothing, and what will happen is nothing. So, yeah, that's the common denominator.
That's good, because if you're not scared of your next move, it's not a big enough move, right? Like,
Yeah. Ooh.
comfortability
Woo.
kills us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Comfortability kills us. Tell me the top three side hustles that because you speak to a plethora of people. Tell me the three
Yeah.
side hustles that you would want to have somebody to just think about. You don't have to get into it, but to think about as something to do.
One would be, uh, let me see, out of everybody that I had on.
I like the
All right, the
vending machine,
first.
guys. I like the vending machine because since I was in like high school, not to cut you off, I really always thought about, I want to put a vending machine in a doctor's office because I used to work at the doctor's office, and I would go to that vending machine every single day. I'm like, how do I get one of these in here? And to this day, I think about it. So when I watched that, I was just like, hold on now. I probably really, really need to think about this. So, but continue. Go ahead.
And to add to what you just said, it's like, even for me, uh, I used to see those, and we would shake them when it wasn't working properly, just to get the
Mm-hmm.
the chips out or whatnot.
Dangling in
But
the side.
and it goes back to what I said earlier, like the information was hidden right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
And some people would probably argue and say, well, it wasn't hidden. It was there. We just needed to go after it. But the thing is, if you have no direction, no sense of direction, nobody in life, you got to be directed in some way.
Yeah.
And we weren't given access to that direction,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it was right in front of our, and we didn't know it was so easy to get into. But we'll see people, come, taking those money out, leaving, and restacking and stuff. But three different side hustles. I would have said vending machine, but I want to give you something more scarce in a way, or more
Yeah.
rare, not so much out there, but it's
Yeah.
still out there, but not so much. One would say low content books.
Mm. Mm.
Low content books. I mean, men and women can actually do this. Um, First of all, let me just say this. I created a low content book, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got it delivered by Amazon. So I did it's on Amazon KDP,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so easy. Anybody could do it. And people are making lots of money on low content books. So here's a low content book that I have. And I designed this. Let me see. It's called
Yeah.
Soul Food Recipe Book,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can see it good.
Yeah, I can see it. It's clear.
Soul Food Recipe Book. So this is a six point six and a half by 9.5 book. So it's a little broad, but it's pretty good. Now inside of the book, check it out. Come on, come
Oh,
on.
there it goes. Yep, I'm seeing. So, recipe name, prep time, ingredients,
Yeah.
directions.
So it's all about the direction. So people, you could write down your directions, your cook time, and all that stuff in there, and that's a low content book. And this is selling for me on Amazon.
Mm,
People. This one person from Japan bought the book,
really?
right? Yes, that was my first sale, right, from Japan.
Mm,
And you write down your recipes and stuff, and cook time, like I said, servings and stuff. So low content books is pretty, and you could make a travel journal.
yes.
You could regular everyday journal. You're journaling your life, and more books. So that's one. Another would be car photography, right? So here's the thing with car photography. You ever see those? So you're going online and you're looking at the pictures of a car that you want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
That work is actually outsourced to people. It's not
Yeah.
the dealership taking those pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Those are individuals who take pictures of the car, and you could use, guess what, your phone and take those pictures. You just got to know that you're taking good quality shots. So this car photography, it hasn't blown as yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about opening a business in that area, but it's a good area to be in. So you pretty much get the contracts with the dealerships, and just get it. I'm not going to really give out too much information right now. And you pretty much set your own schedule and go to the dealership, take photos of all angles of the car, including the interior and so forth, send it over to them or whatnot, and post it or whatnot. But yeah, car photography, a lot of people don't know about that. I know I might have some people, you're going to have millions of people watching this video. So people going to try to find me. Hey, so how about that car photography? All right. So another one would be freelancing apps. So there's so many apps out there that are offering to pay you to do stuff. One app is called Hellotech. Now, here's the thing with Hellotech. Hellotech, you can pretty much, and I've done this, so I'm talking about something that I'm doing, right? And that's my spare time gig, on the weekends or so forth. So people, like, let's just say somebody has something that they want to fix. Let's just say something simple as, putting on what you call it, that plastic thing on the phone.
What, screen protectors?
Screen protectors. Some people don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So what they'll do is they'll just do a work, just send out a work request. Yeah. And Hellotech, sends you the request, you accept, whatnot, and boom, you got a job to do. It could be 3-4 miles away, it could be 2 miles, a mile around the corner, or half a mile around the corner. And you go to the person's house and pretty much, put on the screen protector for them and get paid. Right? It's simple as that. Somebody want to set up a speaker or set up their webcam, right? Put in a work request, a work order. That's the word I'm trying to use, work order. And boom, you get it. Go there, set up their webcam for them. Boom.
So it's like outsourcing any type of work through that app. So you're able to just kind of say, oh, I'm really great at hanging art on the wall. And if someone that doesn't know how to do it, I could just outsource that as a person, pay whoever it is on the app that I connect with to come in and just do that. Oh, that's really good. You know what I want to say, Shawn? You brought up a really great point. And I feel like we're on the same frequency with this, because this week on Tuesday, I messaged my friend. I said, where can I sell photos online? And she was like, OnlyFans. I'm like, no. I'm talking about like landscape pictures, like Adobe. Because I wasn't thinking about Adobe because I know she's in the graphic space. I messaged 2 people. I know they're in the graphic space. I was like, where can I sell photography online? Because, when designers go to do things, they're buying a stock photo. They're buying stock photos offline, etc. So people like myself or yourself will take a great picture, sell it to these platforms, upload it to these platforms, and every time someone purchases that picture, then you get paid because it's like an Adobe stock, or there's different website that does that. So when you mentioned like car photography, my mind automatically went back to that conversation I had this week. Was like, okay, how can I sell these really great pictures that I take of landscape and nature? Because I'm just like my camera is just always snapping. And like you said, this thing right here, the camera that they're creating is creating movies and all that stuff. So I think that was really, really good as far as like top 3 side hustles. I feel like you and I, Shawn, can sit and speak for hours, but I'm going to let you go. I know that you have a lot to do, and I'm look forward to coming onto your podcast again whenever we can set that up.
Of course.
In the meantime, tell our audience where they can reach you or see your work or contact you.
Well, Pocket Value Podcast, of course. I don't really advertise Facebook so much. I think I have enough friends that I don't know on there. But Pocket Value Podcast, anything Pocket Value Podcast, it could be on, YouTube, of course, which is the main source. Instagram, Pocket Value Podcast. And TikTok, Pocket Value Podcast. So here's a thing that I actually wanted to say also, is that I wanted to put this out there, man. It's like Pocket Value Podcast, the meaning behind pocket value, right? And we keep going back to this, Monique.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we carry in our pockets.
Mm-hmm.
The
Our phones,
value that's
absolutely.
packed into it.
Absolutely.
It's just it's unending, right? And this is where it actually came from. One day I actually took my phone out and I was doing some research and stuff. And, I was like, man, I was just sitting back thinking like, man, there's so much value packed into this phone and we keep it in our pockets all the time. Well, of course, it's mainly in our hands, but we carried it around in our pockets. And that's actually how I came up with the name, the Pocket Value, and so, Pocket Value Podcast across all, mediums. We don't have a website set up yet. I'm ready to get to the next tier, and then we'll pretty much set it up. But yeah, Pocket Value Podcast on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
Perfect. And this is something that I always like to ask my guests to kind of close out the show. What is one piece of advice that you've gotten that to this day you kind of use it in your day to day, or it has transformed you? So one piece of advice that you've gotten that you're like,
One piece of advice. That would be. Let me. We've been getting the jewels from the old school heads, right? I was around people, especially grown men, of course, that were pouring into me. Of course, within my 20s, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Partying, we're going to clubs and parties and more party and BS, right? And we never really. There's a song called Party and
I know,
BS.
that's why I'm laughing. That's why I'm laughing, because I knew what you were getting at. It's by Rita Ora. Party and BS.
Right. So, but when you hit that corner and you say, you know what, let me, slow down and start looking into things. And, when you're in the 30s and stuff, and started to slow down, man. And I remember this one guy, he said to me, he was my father's friend. He actually worked for my pops. They were into carpenting, laying carpets in houses and stuff. And he said, Shawn, look, one thing you got to understand is that if you want to see success 10 years from now, you got to start 10 years earlier. You got to start where you are. If you want to see success in the future, it doesn't come overnight.
Yeah.
Start now and grow it, water it, and pretty much it's like growing a rose garden. You got to tend to it. You got to take care of it. And, I understand what he was saying in a sense, but then when you really start chasing success, nowadays, a lot of people are chasing success way more early, right? That stood out because now, well, not just now, but, years before, I got to this point, that came back to me. It never left. It's almost like he said, here, I'm going to plant the seed, in your heart, and you let it in your soul, let it grow from there. And it grew, it sprouted. And so that definitely stood out, and it's still having its impact today. Now, when I say plant seed, I know a lot of, people from Korea, hey man, ain't nobody, but you know what I mean, right? But now plant
No
seed.
seed thrown here. No,
so let me clear that up. All right, let me clear that up. So, that's one of the things, that still stood out, and it's still having its impact, and that was knowledgeable that was information that I need. That was the old head passing down wisdom.
And without you even thinking, but now when you go back to it, it's just like, to see success in 10 years, start now. Like, it's not going to happen like overnight. That's perfect. That's perfect. Shawn, I want to say thank you. Again, we can sit and brainstorm and go back and forth. I can't wait for our next episode on Pocket Value, because I feel like when I go over there, I'm in my teacher bag where I'm just like schooling because, I do trainings and stuff all the time on digital marketing for companies. So So when I'm able to just like we did on that podcast, when I say it's gems on gems on gems on that first episode that you and I did, again, guys, go check it out on Pocket Value Podcast. It was one of the, I think it was like the second episode on digital marketing. What is digital marketing? Just understanding the concept, and now more than ever, that's so important. So again, thank you for that opportunity. Thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you've gotten to this point of the video and you enjoy the content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like and share with your friends and family. And with this new season, our new website is now launched. So go ahead and check it out, which is MyuzeMarketing.com. Myuze is spelled MYUZE, marketing.com. So go ahead and check out the website. You'll see our services, everything that we do. You'll see podcasts. You'll be able to see all the blogs that we write. So it's a lot of free content that's available there. And again, Shawn, thank you so much for being a part of it. And guys, see you next time. Bye-bye.